Hello and happy, beautiful day to you. Welcome back. On today's Self-Healing Insights, I worked with a beautiful volunteer. Her name is Debbie, and there are so many things that I love about her. First and foremost, her sense of humor and just the ability to just banter and play back and forth. It was really, really, really sweet. Now, underlying emotions, there are other things going on that I want to share with you that were really key insights for helping her to start to make a shift in her life. Now, when we look at the reason that she was reaching out, ultimately, she's been experiencing tinnitus for many, many years, and it's increasing. Now, when we first connected, she mentioned that the reason that this started had to do with a prescription medication that she was taking. And so that's where the onset came from. And that's the first insight that I want to invite you to, that awareness. So often I'll hear people who have some type of physical thing happen for an onset of an illness, such as an accident, which was the case for me, an accident or an injury or a fall or a medication or something in their lives. And so ultimately they'll think, it had to do with this external event. And I get it. I was there. I was injured and I had an accident. I had two accidents, a car accident and a fall. And initially, when I started working with my mind over 20 plus years ago now, when I first started looking at healing with the mind, I thought, this can't really help me. I have a physical injury. I didn't see how it was possible. And yet I had things going on in my subconscious mind that were actually impacting my mind-body healing. Who would have thought, right? At least when I first started. And so in this case, one of the things that I just want to point out is that so often people will think it starts with a medication or whatever it is. And time again, I have always seen consistently, no matter what the external event was, that I have always found that there is some type of emotional component that is somehow linked into it. Always, and it's amazing, at least. And of course, have I worked with every single person in the world? I haven't, but I can tell you every single time I've ever worked with anybody in over 15 years of working with people through accidents and all kinds of things, every single time there's something. And so just food for thought, because what can also happen is that so often people can actually get more upset. Like, for example, and I did this during my own injury. I made this mistake where, I just got so upset about the accident that happened and it wasn't my fault, etc. And so that, of course, added negative emotion, negative feelings to it, which wasn't helpful for my health, my life, my healing. And so the insight that I want to invite you to look at in this is that if you have had some type of external situation impact your health, that instead of getting upset or angry, and I know it's easy to go there where you can get angry or upset or feel like a victim, I'd invite you to really look at a deeper level, because I've, again, always found something there that is key. So that's insight number one. Now, the second insight is that so often people can find emotions that feel good that can actually be part of the problem. And that was the case for Debbie, in that one of the emotions that we were looking at that's impacting her is the feeling of a strong feeling of defiant. It's like this resistance and defiance energy towards, not wanting to listen to the stepfather or the father, that feeling. Now, the problem with that is that, number one, it can be linked to, unfortunately, a health issue. But also what's a little tricky is that it can feel strong, or it can feel like it's protecting you, or it's doing the right thing. And I can't tell you how often I've seen people who felt like they were doing the right thing and somehow justified it in their mind, and yet it was the very thing that was impacting their health and their life. So they feel like, yes, I'm defiant, and they feel good about it, and yet it's affecting their health. Or I've seen people where they're, angry at somebody else, so they're taking something or taking anger out on that person or whatever it is. Or even somebody who feels like another person is bad and they're speaking poorly about them, and yet it's impacting their own health, their own life, their own happiness, their own mindset, their own energy, just at a deeper and deeper and deeper level. And so it's so counterintuitive, and you hear me say that all of the time, that working with the mind is counterintuitive, and that's the reason it can feel so hard. But when you really just start to understand the mind in a different way, you realize that it does make sense. It's just a different type of logic. And that's the reason that I've been able to show people how to get results, even under medical equipment, is because there is a logic. It's just a different type of logic. And so those are the insights that I want to share with you, is exactly that. Is, number one, again, just making sure that you're not getting upset if there is some type of external situation. I get it. I've been there. I know what it feels like. But instead, checking in and really looking at what is going on at a deeper level in the subconscious mind, it's just life-changing. And noticing if there are emotions that make you maybe feel stronger or righteous or right that may be impacting your health, your life, your happiness. And so food for thought. And of course, if you are somebody who is wanting a deeper understanding, you can definitely click on the link in the show notes and you could listen to the session live where I worked with Debbie. So you can listen to that recorded session, or if you'd like a training, there's a free training in the show notes as well. And so as always, I want to ask you to please do take just a quick moment to hit the share button on this episode. Share it with somebody you love, somebody you care about, or somebody you don't even know, because the more that every single person in our world feels happy and healthy and loved and loving, the better this world is for all of us. And so please do take just a quick moment to hit the share button, and please do make a point to have an incredible rest of your day. I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. We'll see you there.